he has to be a great candidate for the Maple Leafs, right? Like he's 28, 1 year left at $5 million bucks. I don't know where you stand, and you obviously have the affiliation to that market in Nashville, but I think this guy instantly solves your goaltending issues for 3 to 5 years, assuming you can re-sign him after next year. Like I think if there's anybody of the echelon of a Juuse Saros available, the Leafs have to at least be picking up the phone and making a call. No.
Yeah, I think so. UC does everything right. He's so consistent. He's so robotic, but he's so athletic. He's undersized, but at the same sense, this guy has a lot of NHL pedigree. He's played a lot of good playoff games too, where a lot of times he's getting Nashville. He hasn't had a great season comparatively to what he did last year, but he is a guy that can be a difference maker. He's an all-world goalie, and I love UC Saros. I love the way he carries himself, and I feel like with his experience and his demeanor and the way he handles himself, he's built for this Toronto market, right? He's already got a little bit of thick skin, and he can get the job done there.
What do you think Nashville's thinking, right? Because to a degree, they dealt with this, 10 years ago with Pekka Rinne and UC Saros. But I wonder, I mean, Yaroslav Askarov is waiting in the wings in the minors. He's been excellent this year. I think at the very least, I think he's going to be the backup next season. But obviously there's a variety of factors. So like July 1, they can talk extension with UC Saros, but who knows where his head's at. And on top of that, what do you think a guy like Saros commands on the market, on the open market too?
Yeah, he's definitely going to get a pay bump, right? So I don't know where his thoughts are at. Like at 28, you think at this point he's either going to want to get a max deal, right? Like gets 8 years if he's going to stay with the Preds, or if he's going to free agency, maybe he takes like a 3 or shorter deal for more money so he can play 3 good years on a good team and then really cash in too, right? It's kind of that tricky transition I find from like 28, you're still like in your prime, but you're still seeing goalies at 31, 32 getting big tickets, right? So for him, he's kind of in the driver's seat. Obviously, he hasn't had like an unbelievable season, but for me, this guy he's confirmed good all around, good person, does everything right. Any team would kill to have this guy as their goalie.
Well, Hudson, am I crazy in thinking that like a guy of this status becomes available? Like every team who doesn't have a bona fide stud, like this is me talking from a point where I know Joseph Woll's in the mix, and I know we believe in Joseph Woll, and it seems like he has a bright future. But if you're talking to me and say, hey, we can upgrade at the position, and it won't be a topic of conversation for X amount of years, like I'm at a point where I'm open. I'm willing, if I'm Brad Treliving, to talk anybody on that roster. I don't care if it's the core four. I don't care if it's a prospect like Easton Cowan or Fraser Minton. I think all hands on deck. I'm so tired of this conversation in this market. Now, granted, would you be shocked at all if they acquire a UC Saros and he stinks up the joint in Toronto? Probably not. But I think it's a good gamble to take, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's the sure thing, right? Especially like, not that Joseph Woll has been great, but like you think about his injuries, he's been hurt a lot, and he still really doesn't have that. Like he's finally got the keys to the castle. He gets hurt, kind of an innocent play. I feel for him, right? Does he get back to form? Are these injuries something that's going to go on forever? Where UC's played a ton of games, right? You think back to the Leafs when they've had sure things, right? You think back to like, we talked to Eddie Belfour earlier, Curtis Joseph, these guys that were like already established. They've already got that demeanor to play in the NHL. The market's not going to totally mess them up. So I think he would be the sure thing, right? And I agree with you. Like, I feel like every team that doesn't have their guy, or, you take out Winnipeg, you take out Vasilevsky, Demko, these guys that are bona fide starters in different markets. If you're in the market for a goalie and UC Saros is available, you're definitely, you're talking to him. You're trying to figure out if there's some deal that can get worked out.
Mitch Marner for UC Saros. How do you feel about that?
Totally fine. Totally fine. Wouldn't sweat me one bit. I don't know, because Mitch Marner's going to want so much money. And I think at this point, like, what is he going to do that's going to help this team move forward to win? Where UC Saros, I think, gives them a much better chance come playoff time.
My concern too, like if this name does come out there, and we're just speculating. I mean, there's been back and forth, and Barry Trotz, the GM in Nashville, has done a good job of sort of hiding and not really showing his cards. But like, I think people have to comprehend, and you're perfect to tell us this. Like this guy is a legit elite netminder in this league, right? Like where I think his value, I wasn't kidding with that request. Like I think his value is that high that, Nashville could be asking for the world, and understandably so, no?
Yeah, I think so, because I think they're going to lobby teams against each other and get it moving that way. And I think he's worth it. He's one of those guys When I was in Nashville, so I had a 2-year, I was on a 1-year, two-way deal. Then I played the full season. Then I got a 2-year extension. And after that deal, they were trying to re-sign me. And UC Saros was coming. He had been in the minors, and they were like, hey, I wanted a 2-year deal because I had played well. I wanted term. I was always wanted term because I knew like if I got term, I was going to be safe. And I remember the goalie coach having a conversation with me one day, and he was just like, why do you want 2 years? I was like, because I want the protection. And he said, well, take 1 year, get as much as you can because UC's coming. They're going to try to get rid of you anyway. And I remember that was when I left and went to St. Louis because of that conversation. I was like, and he was so good. I had been with him. He was like a robot. So it was like the writing was on the wall for me when this kid was coming. It was time for me to get out. And everyone always had that knock, like what he could do at the NHL level at his size. And he's proven it. He can get the job done.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosa. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.